So if you've been wanting to get a Sonos speaker but haven't been able to, well, this Sonos Ray would be a very compelling option as it comes at a price of only 1,799 ringgit. But the question is that, is this worth it compared to other so-called budget soundbars out there? Well, let's find out. Now, due to the form factor, the Sonos Ray comes with a compact size box. Now, once you remove the tab paper seal on each side, you can then open the box cover. Towards the side of the box is where you'll find a smaller box. In there, there's the cable plug, and depending on where you are from, you'll get the right cable plug. Then there's the optical cable and the user manuals. Then finally, you'll see the Sonos Ray covered with a white cloth-like material. Now, during my first impressions, I was truly intrigued by how compact and light that the Sonos Ray was. Weighing at only 1.95 kgs, where you can easily just carry this with just one hand. Now, the design itself looks very similar to the Sonos Beam, which uses a polycarbonate material which has some perforated grills since Sonos items has always been long lasting anyway. Then it comes with two colors for you guys to choose from other than this white color version. It is also available in black. Now, the Sonos Ray is very compact at only 95mm deep, 559mm wide and 71mm in height. So this is actually quite good if you have a smaller screen TV, say like a 32-inch TV. That will complement your setup, especially if you place it in a smaller place that cannot fit a big soundbar. Now, coming to the ports and buttons for the I/O connections, at the back of the Sonos Ray, you'll find the pairing button, the power input, the optical input and also the Ethernet port. Now, unfortunately, the Sonos Ray does not come with a HDMI input because based on research, Sonos have mentioned that even really old TVs at least has an optical port. So that is why they're chosen with not having a HDMI port and went with the optical port. And of course, this is also to lower the price of the soundbar, but it also means there is no CEC controls as well. Then on top there is three iconic Sonos touch-based inputs like your volume and play and pause button. Now personally for me, I like this kind of touch kind of controls compared to a physical button. But if you're the kind of person who accidentally presses it, or if you have a cat like me who walks over your TV console, then you have the option to disable the touch-based input on the Sonos app as well. Now, like the majority of Sonos speakers, they have been known to not have Bluetooth connectivity because like me, I am a believer of good audio quality as Bluetooth does lower the quality of the sound a little bit. Hence, using a Wi-Fi connection for audio streaming would be a better option. And of course, with Wi-Fi audio streaming, you'll not only get a better and nicer audio output, but also without any latency. Now, of course, we want to know what is exactly inside of the Sonos Ray, right? Without opening the speaker grill. Well, firstly, there is 4 Class D amplifiers that powers 2 tweeters for vocals and high frequencies. Then there are 2 high efficiency mid-woofer for the mid-ranges and bass. Now, speaking of bass, there are 2 bass reflex systems that helps to minimize distortion and makes the sound feel rounder, especially on those low-end frequencies. Now, although it is a 2-channel speaker, but as usual, you can always add on more speakers like how Sonos speakers are. To add on to get a 4.1 channel setup by pairing it with a pair of Sonos One speakers behind and maybe a Sonos subwoofer together with this Sonos Ray as well. Now, compared to other soundbars, it has a straightforward front-facing driver, so there's no angled drivers or upward firing drivers. So this is ideal for those with a smaller room, or if you decide to put the soundbar into a cabinet unit or a TV closed shelf, where from a storage perspective, that for me is a huge plus. Now, since it does not support HDMI input or output, that also means that the soundbar does not support any Dolby Atmos playback, which is to be expected, especially with this such very good price range that Sonos offers. But if you really need Dolby Atmos, then you might consider the Sonos Beam or even the creme de la creme, the Sonos Arc. Now, that being said, it would be nice that if the soundbar had an AUX port for me to hook up to a computer, because imagine using this as a video editing speaker or even playing PC games with this such compact factor. Now, the setup process for all Sonos speakers has always been straightforward, where all you have to do is just to plug in your Sonos Ray and where exactly you want to place it, then plug in your optical audio cable and connect it to your TV. fire up your Sonos app on your phone and you're done. Now, I have gone through a comprehensive video on the app in my previous Sonos video, which I'll link them down below or the card above, so do check it out once you're done with this video. Now, before I dive into the sound test, first of all, whenever you set up a Sonos Ray or any speakers from Sonos, I would recommend using the TruePlay tuning first, where this acoustically optimizes the soundbar for your room or the environment for your Sonos Ray on where exactly it is placed, but you'll need an iPhone or an iPad to configure this TruePlay sound. Now, in terms of playback, you can use Spotify Connect, AirPlay 2, and a myriad of other services like Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, and more. And there are over 100,000 channels for you guys to choose from worldwide. Now, before I give you my sound test and of course my thoughts, I just want to make sure that you are not taking this as a 100% true sound, because even though I'm using a high quality microphone for this sound test, it is compressed with YouTube. So bear in mind that it does not sound exactly how it would sound through a YouTube video, but you can kind of get a rough estimation of how it sounds, and here is a sound test based on several situations.
Down, everyone strap on body armor, and tell the captain, let's get going.
We're going to talk about the Pixel 6a possibly having a higher refresh screen, and we're going to talk about how you might be seeing more ads on your Apple devices. But yes, I have a lot of quick hits in here, and I guess you picked which one you want to talk about.
I just read the first bold text.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to talk about this. It's a dumpster with Tesla written on the side of it.
So, what do you think? Well, my take on the audio quality is how the vocals sound exceptional on the Sonos Ray, whether or not you're listening to music, a podcast, or a dialogue when watching a movie. Now, speaking of watching movies, I did find that the vocal clarity was one of the best that I ever heard, especially with a soundbar within this price range. And I found that the vocals were so clear that I did not have to turn on the night sound on the app even when I was watching movies at night, because of how well rounded the vocals were. Now, another place where the speaker excels is through its mid-range and the higher range of sound, where it was just clear with absolutely no distortion even at its higher volume. Then the lower range was not as mind-blowing as the Arc or even the Beam, but it was very pronounced, where you can hear and feel the bass very decently indeed. Then the soundstage to me was quite a huge surprise because it was quite wide, as I was little worried about how it would perform since it has a smaller form factor, as mentioned many times in this video. So in conclusion, coming at a price of 1,799 ringgit. Now, while it may not be the cheapest soundbar compared to other soundbars out there, I think that it is decently priced if you're looking to dive into your first Sonos ecosystem, which is hands down one of the most aesthetically pleasing speakers out right now, and of course sounding really amazing too. And I think that the Sonos Ray is such a great introduction to the soundbar lineup, because I feel that it is catered for people who don't really need a high output or even having Dolby Atmos at all. And with this, do let me know if you're planning on getting the Sonos Ray in the comment section below. Are you planning to get it? Let's discuss it over there.